demystify feminism.
To advocate for the rights of women.
Lazima ukuwe na umama.
Lazima ukuwe na ubaba. Plus wanting inclusivity.
Misunderstood things about feminism.
You know, you just don't give me a job to just look pretty in the office. This one is there to be seen, not heard whatsoever. Privilege.
Mimi sizingia jikoni.
The gender quartering. Mimi sitishangi fair. Woo! We all have an aspect of us that is attracted to the same sex.
Whoa. Yeah. Hold up. Hey, nimejaribu kujitetea.
Positive vibes.
Knowledge and niceness.
We believe in the small efforts.
A woman doesn't need a man to be great. A woman doesn't need a man to be strong. A woman doesn't need a man to be recognized. Let's do this. Colored within the lines. Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome to a brand new day. Welcome to a brand new journey. I am your host, Stefano Armstrong Wanjia, and I'm joined by...
Dazzling D.
We're talking about if we could probably find another term to define what feminism is. Because I feel once you branded a feminist,
yes,
the general... if you even introduce yourself as a feminist to other people, they'll take everything you say as a negative.
Yes.
No matter how positive, no matter how much good vibes you're spreading. Is there another term we can probably use instead of feminism?
That question has been long debated in the history of feminism. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you for sure that we are still in the lab trying to make sense of a better term to describe this movement. So, but what do I want to say? First of all, from a very personal perspective, I am always responsible for what I say. You're responsible for how you interpret it. I'll do my best to package my message in the best way possible. And you, on the other hand, you have to do your best to have different perspectives on board. Mm-hmm. And to take my message as objective as possible.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, feminism doesn't have that advantage.
Okay.
Yes, we have this perspective that is so staunchly judging, pertaining it, and it is so hard to change it. But just trying to answer your question, you see, feminism, I said it began in the 19th century. Mm-hmm. And its history dictates just in a brief, as I pass along. It has three waves. The first wave was in the 19th century and early 20th century. That one was all about advocating for the rights of suffrage. We are talking about rights to vote. We are talking about rights to own property. Mm-hmm. We are talking about defining the place of a woman
in society.
And more so in the house as a possession of this man. You know, it was so, like, things were just out there. We had so many unwritten rules, and women didn't know where they really stand. Are they humans? Are they kids? Do they... Like, in that context, picture this lady. She's married, right? Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know whether she owns that cup in that house or that spoon. She doesn't know if her decision-making power is equal to that kid or to the husband. They just didn't know where they belonged. Mm-hmm. And it went as far as the nation, the political sphere will be. And that is why women realized that they have opinions, they have concerns that are never aired. And so they were advocating for their rights to vote. Because initially, women never voted. It's like it was assumed they have no opinion whatsoever, or their concerns are represented by the men. But that wasn't the case. So, on to the second wave. Of course, every time you work with people, squabbles will be there, misunderstandings will be there, and we even have these people who love the ideas and they just start another movement or a sub-movement in between. So from there, times changed slightly, we can say. We got into the second wave. The second wave was trying to change or to do better than the first wave in as much as this advocacy was concerned. But the second wave was all about the resources in our hands. Mm-hmm. You see, for the first wave, women were just like, I just want to vote. I want to have my opinion heard. I want to own property, you know. Mm-hmm. It was just, they were trying to introduce this discussion into our decision-making platforms, like the parliamentary caucuses and whatnot. And then the second wave was more like, now that we have had this conversation, it has been on the table, how about we practicalize it? Yeah, we want to own property. So where do we start? The corporates are male dominated. The schools mostly were attended by men, or rather by boys, right? And here we have a woman who is saying, yes, I want to be in the public sphere. I want to own property. I want to make decisions. So that is the second wave. And it was trying to look into the practicality of the same. It was like, take these girls to school. Let them have these skills. Give them a benefit of doubt. Let them vie in these political positions. Yes. And it was very clear about the advantage, the benefits that we get from these resources. You know, it's one thing for you to own a resource, and it's another thing for you to access it. It's totally different. So they realized that the argument was men own and access resources. A good example would be a research that was conducted recently by the United Nations, the arm that deals with food. And it was saying, for food security to be there, right, we need to focus on our agricultural production. But who have these resources? Who accesses them? Who can make this happen? And they realized that women dominate a good share, 2/3 of the agricultural sector.
I would say even more.
Yes, even more. But they don't own these resources. Matters land. They don't own this equipment, the tractors and all that. They don't possess this skill set that is supposed to gear us towards the food security that we need to feed the 8 billion people in the universe. Right? But
In the world.
in the world.
'Cause
Sorry.
I believe we don't have one earth.
Okay, yeah. So in
Stay
the
for
world,
another day.
in the world, right? But they have access. They have access to this land. They work as the farmers. What do you call them? These small scale farmers. They work in those farms. They'll toil all day, but the benefits they get are so meager. So it's disadvantage. It disadvantages us as a population as a whole because of the whole access and control issue, right?
Okay.
And it was said that if only women can own 1/3 of these resources that they need, then the world will be 4/5 food secure.
Wow. That is some crazy SHIT.
What is that?
That is some crazy shit. But I think we do need to have this conversation more often, and we do need to get the word out there. We do need people to hear what we have to say about sharing, as you said, owning and controlling of the resources. And
So on to the third wave, right? The third wave realized that the second one was doing good. That when we are talking about the second wave, we are talking about 1960s all the way to 1980s, thereabouts. It had done a lot of progress, matters practicality, but we know they could only do so much. So we got into the third wave where some people were so vehement and they felt like the pace at which the feminist movement is being run, it will never attain its objectives. So we got into the third wave in the 1990s. And this one was more skewed to micropolitics. By micropolitics, I mean the decisions that we take every day for granted, right? So the third wave was all about, yes, I have access to land. I have access to this farming equipment. But how am I relating to my marketers? Yeah, I said, even from time immemorial, the corporate has been male dominated, right? So the second wave comes with, yo, we owning these resources, we're controlling them, we are producing this food. Let me just stick to that example with your permission. So
you're free.
Thank you.
Fly.
So picture this. The second wave is like, women need to own these lands. They need to own these resources. Then the women own them. Fortunately, let's just assume they own them, right? They produce very well. But where is the between the chain of production? No, the from where the production is taking place to the final consumer, there's an entire supply line that is male dominated. So the third wave was more of, so if we don't work on these relations that we have, how will we attain our objective? Because here I am producing food. Let's say I'm a farmer. I produce, yes, our favorite, avocados. Avocado, if you got lost. So we are here.
Ado wa guacamole.
Makodofia hapo hapo. So let's say we are producing makodofia. These produce... Come on. Nip it together. Get your shit together, man. Try it.
Okay, let's try.
Itapituse ni ngumu.
Inauma.
Itapituse.
You were saying?
Yes, I produce avocados. Yeah, and I want to be a prolific farmer. So right from my production, I want these connections. I want to export them. I want blah blah. I want money. Yeah, but the people who are supposed to help me, or the people that I'm working with in facilitation of these, they are men. Right? And these men have been cultured to look down upon me. So you can imagine how difficult the friction that will be there before they even talk business, before transactions are done. You know, it's a matter of the men come up with the rules and the women follow. Like, the avocados are mine. I'm here telling this guy, I want to trade one at 20 shillings. But since he is a man, just by the sheer fact that he is a man, socialized to be a man, he cannot listen to a woman. So he tells me, I'm taking it for 15 shillings. It's either you take it or you leave it. Furthermore, needless to forget that we have men who are doing farming. Right? So it's like he's doing you a favor by purchasing your product. Right?
I know umepanda.
And I know umepanda. The same applies in the workspaces. Yeah? I am here masquerading with the same credentials as my male counterpart or your potential employee in a job interview. Yeah? Nobody told you that I cannot deliver. In fact, I can even maybe hit the job much better than he can. But by the sheer fact that he's a man, you assume that he has this mountain of responsibilities. You even assume that he's a family man and all that. You know. And so his salary will be slightly, if not twice as much as mine. That is if you will be sympathetic enough to give me a chance. Or if that is, my looks won't come into the way.
Oh,
you know.
my goodness me.
Yes.
Wow.
These things are there.
Huh.
So the third wave of feminism was looking at these micro-politics that we ignore. Yeah? And it was trying to, show people that if the society will have decorum, if it will have structure that works for us, if it will experience real development that is facilitated or that is housed or engineered by gender, then and only then, we need to look at the gender power relations. Yeah? And we need to redefine them.
Thank you so much. Again, is Stefano Armstrong Wanjia. Thank you for listening.
Mine is Dazzling Day. Ciao.
Bye-bye.